everyone, welcome back. We're colouring word search and colour, and it's very overcast today, so I've had to put the light on, so sorry about the glossiness of this. We might actually also have some thunder here and some heavy winds, so if I disconnect, it could be because of the power's lost or the storm's gotten bad. Just a heads up. I'll just wait for this plane. But yes, so I've been colouring and I wanted to show you some of the stuff I've been colouring. I'll just kind of give you a little flip through again. So I have been colouring the Love Shack one, and this is what my version of it looks like. I've been trying to think of what each word kind of represents and what a colour that represents it is. So, like, for example, I thought understanding was a bit of a green, so I picked a teal. It does look a bit blue, and that's because of the overcast day. I'm really sorry. And actually, let me see if I can... Nope, that doesn't help much. Also, compassion up here. It's actually a magenta, because I thought that was, soft and kind. Joy here is yellow because, happiness. Chocolate is chocolate brown. And I've got, I've just tried to pick some colours. Loyalty here is gold. I've got passion as red, but it's a darker red than, say, love and heart, which is over the other side. So yeah, I've just been having fun with that. And I can't wait to see how everyone else colours it. Sorry, trouble with the cam here. So, let's go on to our gemstones. Now, we've coloured quite a lot of them, but there's still more to go. And we've got, I think, 6 more days of this. And then I'm going to do something fun that I haven't decided yet, to get some more names in the hat. And keep watching, because every day I'm putting something new up. Sometimes it's just a little message to tag a friend, and you'll go instantly into the hat, and you don't want to miss that, because the more you're in that hat, the more chance you have at winning one of these books, and you'll get a brand new copy sent to you, and it's just going to be such a nice thing. So, let's get to drawing. I can't even remember what people have guessed today. So, let's see. Sorry, I should put that into the can. I'm trying not to look, so it's a bit weird. I feel like I need to jumble these a little bit more, because they're all stuck together. But you can see they're all in there. Yeah, that feels a bit better. Alright. And I can't see, partially because my hand's in the way, and partially because it's, yeah, everything's in the way. It's a frosted container. Alright. Yeah. Going to draw one. Emerald! I know that was guessed earlier, so I hope someone guessed that again. Emerald is green. So, emerald is a bright green, but it's not really bright like peridot over here. So I'm going to race you to find emerald. Oh, I thought I found it right there. Oh, I got so cocky then. I was like, yes, a good start. But no, that's not. I wonder if I've found this one before and I'm just forgetting where it is. Found it. Emerald. Excellent. I'm on a roll today. And it's just nice not to need to what's the word I'm looking for? Look at the, what is it? That thing. The solutions. My goodness. The storm's interfering with my brain wiring. Alright, so let's get some test colours out. I'm gonna, yeah, I think that's a good colour for emerald. The cam's a little bit blurry. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Let's hope that's okay. I might, I don't know. What's this one like? What does smooth emerald look like, I wonder? Cameraman? So I'm wondering if I need that dark green. It's kind of just bland. Alright, so let's go with this. I've got these two colours. They're green. That's good enough for me. And what I'm going to do is see if I can get this camera to be a little less blurry. I don't know why it always does that. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just... Nope, that's not helping at all. Alright, well, I'm just going to have to make do, unfortunately. Just gonna find something to help stabilize my little, here we go, magnifying glass, because it's having a bit of a hard time with this table. There's not really a place where it can grip, and it's very showing. So need something thicker to grip onto. I'm just going to put some fabric in here. That's sort of helping. Yes, excellent. Alright, so emerald. I hope everyone's having a really good day today. And I hope we're going to have some fun. And I hope someone picked emerald. I'm just going to sharpen this, waste more time. And it should be getting easier to pick a winner now. And I guess I'm going to make it extra challenging, and in that last one, I'm not going to list any gem. And then we'll see who's really been watching, hey. So, what am I going to do here? I guess I'll just get all this colour down and then decide how I'm going to handle the darker bits. Go a bit lighter here for the lighter bits. There we go. I'm very sorry about the blurriness. There's not really anything I can do. I did try. Unfortunately, it just does not like me. I think I've gotten better at colouring these square ones. I'm not the greatest, but I'm far better than I was. So that's good news. So you do improve over time, you just got to keep at it. And I guess the good part about this gem one is that you get better at colouring gems. So that doesn't look too bad, does it? It's a very good one to practice with. This is a great stocking stuffer. Christmas is coming up. If you know anyone who likes word searches or adult colouring or both, this is probably something they'd enjoy. Like, I'm having a lot of fun right now, and I'm the sort of person who doesn't like I do colour a lot, but I don't know how to explain it, but I'm not I don't like colouring everything. I'm very, very picky with what I colour. Some of the stuff that I colour is I prefer single things that I can focus on making look good. So I guess this book is perfect for me in that sense, because I have a single little icon, I guess you'd say, to colour. I can focus on just this part, or just that part, or just that part. And then when I think of the whole, it's a little bit different, because I just have, I guess, the whole word to think of. I don't have to think of the whole page. And when I do, it's not the same as colouring a full detail page, which is kind of interesting, because all the pages I design, most of them are full pages. So it's rather interesting that I like colouring the opposite of that. But I like drawing, the complete opposite again. Now I'm just putting this on top because it makes it so much less abrasive. Like, it's very dark, this green. So I'm just trying to keep it on top so that it doesn't go quite so green, if that makes sense. I don't want it to be too dark. Then I'll go back over this just to make sure it blends right. So yeah, if I put the darker colour down first, it's definitely going to be a lot more dark than I want. And, Prismacolors, they basically blend themselves. So as you can tell up there, you don't need to put a lot of effort in with Prismacolors, which is really nice. But yes, as I was saying, the things I like colouring are things like, if you've heard of Colette Fergus, I have her dress books. They're very amazing. I love them. And you just get to focus on colouring a single dress. I also have a love affair with Queenie Wong's flower pot book. I haven't got that yet, but it's on my wish list. And you just focus on colouring a single flower pot, and I just think that is just perfect. So, oops, wrong colour. Yeah, I guess, sometimes we draw different things to what we like to colour, which obviously is a bit of a problem sometimes, because sometimes, like right now, we have to colour to get the word out. So, I've put all my own money into this. I've put all my own time and effort in. And even now, this is to get the word out. So it's nice when you get a shout out from another artist. So shout out to Colette Fergus and Queenie Wong. Go check out their stuff. Queenie's got a brand new book out right now that is basically anime girls. And I haven't had a huge look at it, but it looks like it might be up my alley too. And Colette has a brand new dress book out, which has some really interesting designs. So that's nice. So yeah, you should definitely check them out. And both of them are on Colour Me Forum, so if you want to join in the fun, you can probably comment on one of their topics and they'll say hi, answer your questions. And they've both got topics for all their books in there. So yeah, there's plenty of people asking them questions and doting on them. And it'd be great to see some of their samples, as well as some of their book pictures in the gallery too. Speaking of the gallery, I better add some of these to the gallery. But I'm not finished yet. Well, that was a bit darker than I intended. That's alright. So there's emerald done. I think I did a pretty good job. And now we will move on. But first, I'm going to be very annoying and try and wipe this can, because I just had this thought that maybe it's a bit dirty. So, sorry. Oh, I can't get in there. Nope, that didn't help at all. Alright, so next one. I'll come back up here. Alright. Now, oh, can't see it. Verdite. Alright. Now that's a green too. So, let's see if anyone can beat me. Pretty sure I saw that one earlier. It's kind of a jade green, actually. Bit weird. Alright, I guess we're going to look for the solutions. Just remember, you can always pause this. I know it's a live stream, but it can be paused and you can just keep watching a little bit behind. That's fine. Especially if you want to... Here it is. Especially if, you want to search for the word yourself. That's half the fun. So, I would love if you would join in and, make sure you are having a good time. And if that means pausing it, then by all means pause it. So, it's kind of a jade colour, but not really. So I'm going to see what this looks like. No, it's a bit too blue. Right. Let's try this one. The can's not showing it properly, but that is pretty close. I think it needs more of like almost a forest green in there. I might have to blend. This one works. But I still think I need a bit of a brighter green. Yeah, that seems to work. Alright. So let's get colouring verdite. Let's hope I said that right. Alright. Oops, sorry. Alright, so it's right here. I'll actually zoom you guys in a bit more. And I need to sharpen this. Don't worry too much about spoilers either, because you're never going to remember where all these words are. And by the time you've done, one or two other ones, or even before then, you won't remember. So, if you're worried about this being potential spoilers, my advice is to not worry. Because, like I said, I made this and I still am having trouble finding these words. And I recommend you do look for the words as opposed to just colouring what you see. But, yeah, it just, I guess, depends on how you want to do it. And yeah, this is quite relaxing. It's a good deal of fun. You get to go over it later with some gel pens maybe. Just to bring the letters back in if you like that. If not, you can leave it. I mean, up to you. Depends on your style. I used to, when I was younger, twice I went on a school camp to areas where there was a gold rush in Australia, because I live in Australia. And I used to just so hope and pray that I would find anything, just a lump of gold or something, because I thought that would be so cool. Like, I wasn't, excited because of money or anything like that. I just wanted to find a piece of gold. And I spent hours there, just panning for gold. And I was like, this is bloody useless. I'm never going to find anything like this. So I spend the longest time doing that, and then we go back to our camp activities, and all I remember is just panning and panning and panning and panning. And we were taught how to do it, and of course we were only allowed to do it from the shore, even though the water was not even ankle deep, and it was very hot. So we'd be in the sun, and it was pretty awful, I'm not gonna lie. But I was very determined to find that piece of gold, and I didn't find anything. And then one of my siblings came home from the same camp a year or two later, maybe more, and they had a nugget in a little glass jar, and I could have cried. I was so sad. I was happy for them, but I was like, no, that's all I wanted. I was like, it wasn't as cool as I thought either, so I guess it wasn't so bad. But I kept asking, where did you find it? And they were just like, I was just panning. I couldn't believe it. Lucky. So that was fun. And then I remember reading maybe 2 years ago now that some guy was panning and he found a giant nugget. He found one so big they should have opened up the gold rush again. Honestly, that thing was huge. And another guy found a nugget as well. It was, what's the word I'm looking for? It was actually quite big. It was like a boulder. And if they're still finding them this big down in that area, I don't know if maybe they're still forming, or if perhaps it wasn't as thorough as they made out, because they do keep saying, this whole area was overrun. I think they even plant some gold for people to find, because you got to keep the tourists coming in, which I guess is cool. I would have loved to find a planted one. It would have been cool if they had little gemstones in there too. Australia actually does have some really unique gemstones. We have one, I think it's called a boulder opal. I can't remember. but colouring with Claire showed me yesterday, I think. No, not colouring with Claire. It was a lovely lady on Facebook who commented on my pictures so far. She showed me. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a black stone, and it has like bright hot pink lines all through it, like lightning bolts. So it's really cool looking. I think I mucked up this one. Maybe just a little bit. Not enough definition. That's what happens when I talk too much. That's alright. Yeah, I went on another camp down to the Gold Rush area. It was actually a music camp. It was very interesting. I went with my childhood best friend, and I don't even know why I was there, because everyone in my school played recorder, and I was the worst at it. And that is not an exaggeration. I probably would have killed people had I played. I was so bad at it that when I went to another school later, they politely gave me a xylophone, and then they didn't let me play it in the performance. So I don't have much musical talent apparently. But yeah, we went to this camp, and there were other schools there, and it was really cool. I'll draw the next one, and then I'll continue with my story. We've just done Verdite. Oh, I forgot to cross them off. So we've got Verdite down here. I'll just cross off with these colours. Oh, there, that probably goes there. Got a bit lost. Alright, let's get the next one out. Appetite. I think that might be a white one. Now let's see if you guys can find it. So appetite is blue, actually. It's actually, I already know what colours I'm going to use. Use this one and this one. And I don't even need to test them because I know they'll be perfect. Can you scroll down? Just want to see some more examples. It looks like it's more of a blue-green, which I'm not sure I like. Can we Wikipedia this? Because I want to see what color Wikipedia says. Apatite is often mistaken for other minerals. That's interesting. Go down. I'm going to sneeze in a moment. It looks like it's actually used for fertilizer quite a lot. Phew, I'm sorry. I guess well, I guess it can be blue. It can also be clear. As a crystal, it can also be a bit yellow. But I think I'm going to go with the blue, because that looks the best. So did anyone find it yet? I don't see it. So I'm going to go over here. There we go. So it's on a bit of an angle. Colouring in the same spot today, it appears. Alright, so back to my story. I really don't know why I was there because, as I said, I was probably the worst player there. And I was so bad the teachers had to rescue people from my playing. So, I'll just cross this one off before I forget. Alright, so I remember like the first moment I got there, there was a playground and we're in the middle of the bush, which is full of gum trees and ferns, moss, rocks, stuff like that, and drop bears, of course. And very dangerous for kids to be out there with those drop bears, but you know, our parents have to send us off into the wild at some point. So yeah, we're out there, and the first thing I noticed was the playground. So of course I've just beelined for that playground. I was probably in maybe 3rd or 4th grade, and yeah, I was terrible with musical instruments. So yeah, I was very young, and I beelined for that. And I remember playing on the slide when like I was a very bizarre child. I was I don't know. I was a bit bizarre. So my teachers came over, and I guess I was special. So they called me and my 2 friends over because I basically only had 2 friends. And they said to us that we were going to be put into the same tent, and they made special arrangements. Everyone else was going random. But actually, I wasn't the only special one, in fairness. We were all in this class because we had some sort of what they deemed learning disability. In my case, it was Asperger's, and in my friend's case, it was dyslexia. But back then, when we were kids, dyslexia was like so unheard of. No one really knew what it was. No one knew how to work with it. And we're in a small town too, so it's not like you know, it was just something that they didn't really know how to deal with. So I was taught to read and write from flashcards, and that actually made my abilities to read crazy high. I was reading things that college level kids couldn't read, and I know this because my 6th grade teacher tested me. And when I was in America, I said to my teacher that I would get 100% on the reading and comprehension test, and she told me that was impossible. No one could ever get that high. She doubted I'd even get 90, and she was very mean. And I took that as challenge accepted, and all the spite within me riled up, and I actually got 99%. I got one question wrong, and that question was kind of a trick question. Even the teacher admitted it when we got it back. And this is a state test too, so this isn't even just a school test. This is a government test to see where the students are at. And I tested, and I got higher than anyone else in the school, and she ate her words. But anyway, so it wasn't all bad being in a special class. I mean, we got the help we needed, and in my case, that help really propelled me further. You know, I learnt to read. I learnt to write my own name. I couldn't do that beforehand. I couldn't spell. I'd get confused on the smallest of words. It was very difficult. And now, you know, I've spent years writing. I've spent years reading. And if you've ever had trouble reading or writing, please don't feel ashamed, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something you have to learn, and you need to be taught by the right people in the right way. And for me, that was flashcards and making the sounds. It was the most embarrassing time of my life, but it really propelled me forward. Like I said, my teacher in 6th grade stopped testing me with 6th grade material and started purchasing college level material to test me with. And they were just like word lists, and she couldn't pronounce them, so she would have me try to read them, and then she would press a button that would play it back, how it's supposed to be said. And I was getting so many of them that she just couldn't believe it. And these words were like 30 letters long. I don't even think they were real words. Oops, I just did that with the dark one. Alright, let's hope I can cover it with a bit of this. I wondered why that was so dark. Uh-oh. But yeah, it was quite interesting. I miss having those tests, actually. They were fun. But yeah, I was reading at above a college level in 6th grade, so it really helped me. And you don't have to be up there. You can just be able to read at all, and that will open so much for you. And a lot of American students seem to think that not being able to read is cool. And when I was there, it was really heartbreaking. In Australia, when I was in school at least, there was 25 kids in a class, and you might have one student who can't read, and he thinks he's cool, but everyone picks on him and they pity him. And in America, it seems almost like the opposite. You've got maybe 5 kids who can read, and they're picked on because they can read. And I couldn't believe it. It was such a turnaround. But anyway, I was at this camp, and because we were so special, we got to be camping together. I'm going to draw as I talk. And we went to set up the tent, and we set it up, and overnight, ironstone. Overnight, it started raining, and it was like a massive storm. And it was actually quite scary. There was thunder, there was lightning, and, I'm a very special child. I was terrified out of my mind. And I'm going to look for this and try and beat you as I talk. So, yeah, it was really scary. And the rain poured down so much that our tent started to flood. And we were in this old place where there was basically, it used to be it was a gold rush site again, so it was historical. But it used to be a place where, there was a prison there, believe it or not, a jail, sorry, not a prison. And there was, I could not find this. Yep, I'm going to look at the solutions. I'm going to need to go back one more page. A little too far there. Oh no, I was before there. Oh, there it is. Ah, here we go. Ironstone. Alright, so we're still on this page. That's alright, we'll just make each page pretty one at a time. So yeah, there was a little jail there, and basically, I don't know how to describe it, but it was a bit of a case of, I don't even know what it was, but it was a gold rush site, and there was a big cabin where everyone could go and eat. There was this little jail that was about the size of maybe a bathroom, a square bathroom. It was very small, and it had 4 beds in it, and it was 2 bunks. And I'm terrified of the dark even today, and I'm in my 20s. I'm still scared of the dark, and as a child, I was terrified of the dark. And when we were told that we had to leave our tent because our tent was collapsing in and flooding, I didn't know where we were going. And our teacher said, we're going to have to go and sleep in the jail. And my initial thought was, that's really cool. And then some kid behind me goes, but the jail's haunted. And that was it for me. I did not think it was cool any longer. I was in fact quite terrified. And there was nothing else I could do though, because our tent had flooded so much it had actually collapsed in. We couldn't even rescue our belongings. The rain was just coming down. And before I continue, ironstone is brown, so I've chosen this brown, and it has flecks of blue and green in there, maybe a bit of aqua, possibly some other colours, but I'm just going to keep it simple and use these ones. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just start with little flecks everywhere. But yeah, it was pouring down. I was terrified out of my mind, and we had to go in there. And as a child who is, you know, in a strange place, it was probably my first time away from home as well. I was quite scared. I didn't know what to do, and all I wanted was to be very close to the people who, you know, were in my camp group. And they wanted to be on the top bunks, so I didn't want to be on the top bunk. I guess I wasn't scared of heights. I just didn't want to have to climb up there, and if there was a ghost, I wanted to be able to run. Like, that's how my mind works, even today. If, you know, I'm in a restaurant or whatever, I sit on the chair that lets me see the most. Because if something happens, I want to know what's going on. And yeah, I guess I was that way as a child too. So what ended up happening was it took me so long to fall asleep. It was ridiculous. Like, I was basically just about hallucinating by the time I fell asleep. And I think like 2 people came up to me while I was asleep to try and scare me. But I was like so asleep at that point that I thought they were like dreams. So it didn't actually work for them. But when I woke up, I was actually somewhere completely different. It really freaked me out. Like, there was actually a jail and a cabin, and I was all alone in the jail, and I was on like the opposite bed to what I'd climbed in with. So I was very terrified, and I was so tired that day, and everyone was like running around and laughing and playing on the playground. I'm just like, how did I end up here? We had to get up very early too. We're basically up at the crack of dawn, because, you know, when you're camping, the light wakes you. And so we go over to our tent, and our tent is absolutely collapsed, and we're just standing there wondering if we even have clothes for the day, because our tent is just covered in water. It's swimming. So we lift up the tent, and all the water slides off, and it was such a mess. Like, the whole thing had collapsed, even though it was a waterproof tent. And my friend had brought it, and she does camping quite a bit with her family, and I wasn't as familiar with camping, but I wasn't a stranger to it. And I helped her pick it up, and like, because the rain was just so torrential that it had really like packed a couple of tents in, and there was a couple of other kids who ended up having to sleep inside as well, but they had slept in a cabin, I guess, with the teachers, and we had slept in the jail. So the tent, we pulled it up, and we opened it up, and we went to get stuff out and like try and rescue it. Everyone was trying to rescue their stuff, and our tent was the only tent where every single thing inside was dry. It was a miracle. Some of the other kids had to share clothes, and you know, it didn't dampen anyone's spirits. We just, I guess, shared a bit, and the teachers said they'd help out. I think we ended up leaving early that year as well, but I had to sleep in that jail again the next night, because our tent itself was actually quite like just absolutely wet. We'd left it open all day, but the teachers had decided it was just not okay for us to sleep in, and had, you know, told us we couldn't do it. So we had to sleep in there again. I thought it was cool again because I survived the first night. but I never found out who moved me to the other bed. And the girls kept giggling about it, and some of the other kids had said they'd seen people walking around at night who weren't in the camp, but they weren't like, I don't think like there was a strange person there moving kids around the beds. It's a bit weird. I think maybe one of the teachers was walking around, maybe one of the other school's teachers that the kids didn't recognize. And I think maybe one of my teachers came in and moved me because someone told me later, like years later, that I got up and started walking. So maybe it was even me the kids were seeing. So, yeah, apparently me and one of my bunkmates started walking. So it wasn't even just me, it was one of them as well. Just walking around. And I'm pretty sure I cried myself to sleep that first night. I was so scared. Because, like I said, terrified of the dark. They put me in, a jail that's supposed to be haunted. I'm, maybe 8 or something. I don't understand. All I'm thinking is, am I going to die? Am I going to survive, And all of my stuff was in there. I think I managed to rescue my teddy, because at that point I still slept with my teddy. And yeah, that was like the sole survivor in my head. I didn't have anything else. And yeah, we ended up leaving the camp early, I think. But yeah, I was very bad at playing the recorder. And I got better at it. Like, I was actually really good at it later. Much later. Because I got a book and I got, like, I guess instructions. Like, proper instructions. And it wasn't just, like, a class thing where the teacher's like, do this. And I'm just standing there like, do what? Wait, what? I don't understand. Like, it was instructions written down that explained what notes were and how to read them. And it explained where all the notes were, or like how to make them, I suppose you'd say, on the recorder. And that really helped me out a lot, and it let me learn at my own pace, which is actually a lot faster than I thought. And I was actually very good at it in the end. So that wasn't too bad. I think I passed that down to my little sister as well. That book was a wonderful book. It wasn't even a book, really. It was a folder full of printouts. So now I've got my little flex in there. And I'm just going to put these 2 pencils back. Oh, wait, did I cross it off? I don't think I did. What am I colouring? Ironstone. So where's ironstone? Right here. Yeah, we did some panning at that point too, and no one found anything. I remember another school camp I went on, I want to say in 7th grade, or maybe 6th, I'm not really sure when it was, but we had a teacher who was absolutely terrified of drop bears. I think she was foreign, and she had immigrated to Australia, and she was absolutely terrified of drop bears. So I remember standing, I guess most Australian camps have a cabin where there's supplies and kitchen stuff. I remember standing at that cabin and I was walking out, and in front of me was this teacher, and I don't know if it was students or teachers, because no one owned up in the end, and there was a big lecture that went on that felt kind of fake. But from one of the trees dropped a teddy bear onto her head. I let loose with like a blood-curdling scream just as loud as hers, because something fell from the tree onto my teacher. And there was massive amounts of laughter, and she was so afraid. She actually needed an ambulance to come up into the bush to pick her up. She was so traumatized. It was awful. And some of the teachers were really mad and had lectured us. We're 7th graders, so we're probably the worst people ever. When it comes to behaving, I mean. So I don't think it was far-fetched to assume it was us, but I genuinely think it was the teachers, because I remember turning and seeing a couple of their faces like, yeah, my prank work sort of thing. And then when they saw it go wrong, like their looks of smugness turned to horror, and they went out to help her. And she actually was in hospital for a few days. It really messed her up. I remember, like, that's why I don't like pranks, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, you think it's just a harmless prank to throw a teddy bear from a tree, right, in the dark, to scare a tourist. But it's really not, especially if it's, like, something that they're really afraid of. Like, I'm terrified of spiders, and if you threw a spider at me, I'd probably need a trauma unit too. Like, even if it was a fake spider, I would scream, and I would probably end up crying. It's not nice to prank people. And there's all these, like, prank channels on YouTube and stuff, and most of them are fake, but that doesn't change anything, because a lot of people do believe they're real, and then they act on them, or they reenact the pranks. Like, some of those pranks are really dangerous too. You can't see the shading I'm doing, but I am doing shading. I'll take a photo later. It'll be much better. But yeah, a lot of people don't think about the consequences of their pranks, and I really hate that, because even if it's a fake prank, someone somewhere is going to try and replicate it. There was a 13 or 11-year-old boy who tried to replicate a hanging prank to scare his mum, and he actually hung himself by accident. And how awful is that? Like, it doesn't matter how many disclaimers you have, don't try this at home. Someone somewhere is probably going to try it, and it's not going to be pretty. And plus, what sort of a prank is that? Why would you put one of your loved ones through that? There's another boy, you can see his prank on YouTube too. He pretended to be kidnapped with his best friend, and the person who was kidnapping threatened to kill them and shoot them, and his best friend was so messed up and, like, so upset, and they pretended to shoot him, and he pretended to be dead, and he pretended to be dead for, I think, like 15 minutes. It was so over the top. Like, if I was to do something that terrible, it would have lasted less than a minute. And his friend is, like, so upset and so hurt and heartbroken, and you can see it, and he's just like, just kill me, because he just can't live without his friend. And then they still go on, traumatizing this poor kid, and then he gets up and says it was all a joke, and this kid is tied to a chair and gagged and stuff, bawling his eyes out. And how could you do that to your friend? If my friend did that to me, we wouldn't be friends anymore. Because that's traumatic. I mean, they picked him up, they put a hood over their heads, like they threatened them at gunpoint. And I don't know if it was prop gun or real gun, but they threatened them at gunpoint into a car boot, I think it was even. With, oops, I was supposed to do that one lighter. With, folds over, like, I don't know, like a hood over their head. Who does that to their friend, who's supposed to be their best friend forever? That's just wrong. So I don't like pranks. I think, like, it's there are some harmless pranks, but like, I guess I punk my fiance all the time. I like to read jokes like they're real. So, I can't think of one right now, but I actually convinced him. Oh, yeah, okay, I can think of one. So, I was telling him about this teacher I had when I was young, and she was fired because her eyes were crossed, and it was, like, really awful. He was getting really upset, and I'm like, yeah, she was really trying, like, to be a good teacher, and she just couldn't do it, but they fired her because she had crossed eyes. And he's like, what the hell? What's with this? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what was their reason? I said, well, she couldn't control her pupils. And then I lost it. I just couldn't help it, and I started laughing. And that's when he realised that I was a terrible person, and he should reconsider marrying me. But that's like, it's a bit of a harmless prank. I've had that done to me too. Someone told me that people who live near cemeteries couldn't be buried in those cemeteries that they live near. And I went into full-on rage mode, and I must have, like, yelled for about 20 minutes on how that's such a violation of rights and no one has the right to do that, before I realized everyone around me was laughing. And that's when they told me that they couldn't be buried there because they were alive. So, yeah, there's like some harmless, like, I don't even know if you call them pranks. That's probably along the lines of jokes still. But I wouldn't, you know, what if, you know, you played a prank on someone and they died because of it, or it traumatized them so badly that they could never leave their house or something. You don't know how someone's psyche is going to react to a situation that they believe with all their heart is real, and then it turns out to be fake. There are people running around dressed as terrorists and clowns and things because they think it's funny to scare people, and it's not. There's a YouTube video of a clown, this is years old, where he would have stuffed clothes on the ground, and the stuffed clothes would have a watermelon sticking out the end, and he would use a giant hammer and smash the watermelon, and it would, you know, just like watermelon would splatter everywhere, but it, like, to someone passing, it would look like he just smashed someone's head. And then he'd look at them and he'd start chasing them, and I thought that was awful. Like, it was kind of funny, but it was like, this is just wrong, you know, when you can't help but laugh. But you're just sitting there like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. And he traumatized so many people. I just, like, that's the sort of thing I just don't like. Because if I saw that, I would have freaked right out. And he chased those people for a good long time too. So, I don't know if that's fake or real. Citrine, I know where that one is. I'm going to beat you all. Right there. And this is the last one. And with this crazy clown epidemic we have at the moment, we just need far less crazy clowns and way more good ones. That would be wonderful. Now, I hope Citrine, Mr. Cameraman. Mr. Cameraman.
Oh, sorry.
Citrine, please.
Spell that for me? Sorry. Admiring well.
I just hope people start calming down. Ah, yes, it's beautiful orange and yellow. It's a wonderful colour. Okay, so I'm going to need my test paper for this one. And you guys are going to need to go and vote for the next 5. So you got 2 votes. I should have made that clear, sorry. So you got 2 votes. And yeah, I guess that's alright, that one. You've got 2 votes. And there's even more chance that you will win now. I think that's a bit too orange. It's more like a yellow, and then it's got that burnt one again. I can't remember what colour I used for that. I think it may have been... No, I think it was this one, actually. Oops, I can't get it out. Alright, let me try. I think it was this one. Let's try it this way. Yeah, that's how I did it. Okay, so I'll use these 2 for this one. And I wonder, I wonder how many people have some of these gems. Because some of them are actually quite beautiful. I actually saw last night something really cool, and I want to share it with you. If you Google gem countertops, you can actually have gemstones in your countertop, and it looks so cool. I was really intrigued by it. It actually looks really awesome. I'm not sure I like some of them, but other ones I do, like quartz. Oh my goodness, that one looked amazing. But I didn't like, say, the amethyst one. There was a blue one. I want to say it was it might have even been kyanite. It could have been something completely different, but they didn't exactly label all of them. But it looked almost like an octopus. It was really cool. And it was it's just beautiful. And they had they had it in a bathroom, and it actually looked really cool in the bathroom. But I wouldn't have had it anywhere else, I don't think, just because I guess it would have looked weird elsewhere. Like in the bathroom, it makes sense to have something with, I guess, little blue and aqua swirls in it. But I wouldn't have had that elsewhere. It was a little bit too detailed for me. And there were other things too where people had them as like backsplashes on the wall. And not as countertops, but as the backsplash. And yeah, so I didn't know you could do that. I guess that's something we can think of for dream homes. But it was really cool looking. I can't imagine how they'd get, such big slabs of these stones, but I totally fell in love with the look of that quartz. I just had all these really nice big squares of I guess different shades of grey and white. Oh, it looks so classy. And it was on top of red benches, and my dream kitchen is very deep red and very white and black. Just adding some orange in just to create kind of a balance between the red and the yellow, because it's just too stark without it. Besides, citrine has a lot of orange in it. Cameraman, could you please bring me a tissue? I need to blow my nose. Cameraman? Michael?
I'm so sorry.
Can you please bring me a tissue? Just gonna mute this. Is it muted? Nope. No, okay. Can you mute it so I can blow my nose?
This is the.
Sorry about that. I'm a bit locked in over here, so if I move anything, it'll all fall apart. So I just needed a bit of help to get some tissues. I'm almost okay. It's still raining out there. I don't know if you can hear that bird, but that's a magpie. And they are known to swoop. So I guess we gotta figure out where their nest is before we go outside next. No, they're beautiful birds, but they're very protective of their nests. So you definitely do not want to interfere with their babies at all, ever. I was swooped when I was about 13. I was riding my bike. I didn't have a helmet because, I'm cool. not really. That's a terrible idea. You should always wear a helmet. Your head is basically a watermelon, and if you're riding, even at the smallest of speeds, and you go over those handlebars, or get knocked off by a car or anything, your head is just so vulnerable. So please wear a helmet. I don't care how cool or stupid you look, just wear one. And make sure it's a safe one that actually is rated for safety. Don't risk it. Because there is nothing worse than losing your memory or your brain function or your loved one because of a helmet. It's just something so silly, so little, and so preventable. I don't care how messy your hair gets, wear a helmet. But anyway, as I was saying, I was just learning to ride my bike. A bigger bike. And I was riding around, and I felt like a whoosh over my head, and I was like, what's this, because I'm young and I guess slow. And then I felt it again, only this time it was a huge smack on my head. Like, it felt like someone had actually hit me with something quite heavy. And it just kept coming, and it just kept smacking me, and I'm screaming and trying to ride away. Oh, it was awful. And my dad came running out, and there is blood cascading down my head. It was terrible. And we were actually at a caravan park at the time. And I was just riding down one of the, they call them streets because it was a large caravan park. But I was just riding down the caravan park, just one of the regular streets where people live off. And, this thing attacked me. Oh, it was so scary. And my dad grabbed me, and he takes me over to, there's a communal bathroom and shower block, and there's one bath in there. And anyone can use it, and we used to love going in there because they played oldies music. So we used to like sitting in the bath with the oldies music. Of course, you clean it before you got in, even though it was kept very clean. You just make sure it's cleaner, I guess. But yeah, he took me over there, and he's washing my head, and I'm screaming because it hurts, and it's like, it really does hurt. I was being genuine. I wasn't just screaming because of the sake of it, and I was a crazy person. I think I was maybe 11, and he's washing my head off, and I'm just screaming, and he's like, stay still, I'm trying to make sure you're not going to die, sort of thing. Obviously, I wasn't going to die, but he needed to make sure I was okay, and I didn't have any need for stitches or, pieces of my scalp needing to be fixed up by a doctor. And it turned out I was okay. I just had really big gashes. I'm actually surprised I don't have scars from that. But it's a lot more frightening than it sounds because your head bleeds so much easier than any other part of your body. So if you end up in a fight with a bird that swoops, you're more likely to get a huge fright because your scalp is just, the skin there is very thin, and you have a lot of clippers, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But, everything's so near the surface, it just takes the tiniest little thing. That's why head wounds are always so scary, because they bleed a lot. If you had the same sort of wound on your leg, you'd see not even a drop. Well, you'd probably see a drop, but, you'd see such a small fraction of what you'd see if it was your head. So it was a lot scarier than it was, and I was okay in the end. But, yeah, definitely wear a helmet. Don't risk it. My brother was riding with a helmet, I might add, down the street, and his hoodie got caught in his front wheel out of nowhere, and he had no time to react before he was thrown violently over the handlebars. And I was in America at the time, so I wasn't even near him to help him, but he laid on the road for an unknown amount of time before a passerby in a car slowed down to stop. And this is at twilight, so he was very lucky that he was seen at all, because twilight, it plays on your eyes, and you might not have seen him. So, that's the dream. He ended up losing all of his memory, and I got a message from, he thought it was funny. He posted on his Facebook from his phone, and he's like, hey, I don't know who any of you guys are, but haha, I'm in hospital. And I'm like, what planet is that funny? So, obviously we called right away. We found out what had happened. It took 2 weeks for him to even recognize his own dad. And we were terrified he'd never get his memory back. The helmet he wore was completely smashed to pieces. It looked like a watermelon had been smacked with a sledgehammer. And I don't know who the driver is, but if you are watching this, thank you so much for stopping and calling an ambulance for him, because he didn't even know who he was. And it took a long time for him to get his memory back, and he got all but the 2 weeks before the accident back. So don't risk it, because you might not be that lucky. Just wear a helmet. And colour my book, because it will help. But thanks for joining me today. And we've had those 5. And I think it's looking really good. It's coming together. I think I'm getting a bit better at gems too, which is nice. And I would love to see what you guys do with these. And yeah, send me some photos. Let me know what you think of the ones that I've done. And please don't forget to guess, because I would really love to put lots and lots of names in the hat. So thank you, and I will see you tomorrow.